Okay, so we resume our studies in Nefesh HaChaim. We're going to start with Perek Vav and Shar Gimel. Right, till now we've been discussing the paradox of, or we should say, the two perspectives. Right, the perspective from Hashem's perspective, where Hashem Echad, which means that Hashem is a being, a simple being with absolutely no change. So as a result, there is no such thing as Hashem before the creation of the world and Hashem after the creation of the world. And yet somehow we know that there is the creation, and so the creation is here, right? So then there's our perspective, right? And from our perspective, we see Hashem as outside of the world, as somebody who created the world and guides the world and watches the world and provides sustenance to the world and energizes the world, but at the same time he's almost as if to say an external being, right? So there's our perspective. From his perspective, he's completely force transcendental. It does not even, there's no world to even to account for, right? And then there is our perspective, which is, here's the world, and Hashem is, the one who sits on the throne in the heavens, so to speak, right? Okay, so let's continue with that. And that's the idea that's expressed. The last thing he said, I think, towards the end of the previous parak, is that's what we mean when we refer to Hashem as HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? There's the HaKadosh refers to the idea that he is removed from the creation of the world, and then there's the Baruch Hu, which means he diffused himself into the world, which means he allows himself to be brought down into the world, but that means he's outside of the world and he needs to be Baruch, he needs to be extended into it. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a reference to Hashem that incorporates both of these ideas. There's the HaKadosh part, which is Hashem removed from the existence of the world, and then there is the Baruch Hu part, which means the Hashem that allows himself to be brought down into the world, right? So that's what we are saying. Now, V'hinei, Kol Yisoidei HaTorah HaKadosha, all the foundations of our holy Torah, B'chol HaZharos VaMitzvos Kulam, and all of the negative commandments and the positive commandments, Asay V'lo Asay, positive and negative, Kulam, all of them Holchim Al Pizoisa Bechina, all of them are structured upon this facet. Shemitzad HaSagoseinu, which is from our perspective, Shevada Yesh Chiluk V'Shinim Mekaymes, that there certainly exists a difference between levels and difference between places. That there are places that are pure and therefore you're allowed to do mitzvahs or learn Torah, and we are obligated to speak or to think with divrei Torah in the words of Torah. In places that are unclean, and we are forbidden to even think about the words of Torah. And all of the different layers and levels of our obligations, that we were commanded from the mouth of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, b'Torah HaKadosh, and the Torah, the Holy Torah, right? All of these commandments only exist in this perspective, in the perspective that's from our aspect. Without that perspective, which is from our side, ein mokum laTorah mitzvos klal, there is no real place for Torah and mitzvahs at all. Good. Now, even though in truth, from his perspective, who understands his essence, who mole is called behashvo gemura, he fills every space, well, there is no space, but he fills everything with total equality, below shum chatzitza, without any obstacle, any chatzitza, any separation, below shum chiluk, without any difference, v'shinui mekoymes klal, without any distinction of places, right? So there is no difference between Eretz Yisrael or non-Eretz Yisrael when it comes from his perspective. It's all Hashem, right? There's no difference in shul and a bathroom, so to speak, right? Rak hakol achdus poshut. It's really all complete, one simple unity. Kekoidem abriya mamash, as if it exactly the way it was before the creation. Aval ein anachnu cholim, but we are not able. V'gam loy hurshenu, we are not really allowed. Likonis klal lihizboinen bina bezet, to truly contemplate that aspect. We have no right, we have no ability, and therefore no right to contemplate exactly what does it mean, Hashem in His essence and His true essence in that complete, pure unity. V'zeh ha'inyan ha'noira. Leido lehasig eich odin yochid baruch hu moles hakol. How HaKadosh Baruch Hu fills every space, every place. V'kol ha'mekoymos, and all of the places be'achdus pashut, and simple unity, v'shivui gomer chalila v'chalila. God forbid. Ha'kamoy shekosav ha'rekeach, and that's what the rekeach writes, b'shoirish kedushas hayichud, in the shorish, in the root of the holiness of God's unity, b'mufla mimcho al tachkor. In what's above you, what's more wondrous than you, al tachkor, do not analyze. Zeshikosu bereish brisa the Sefer Yitzira, and he writes over there. This is what the Sefer Yitzira means: Hashev hayoytzer al mechoinoi, place the creator on his foundation. Hu hayoytzer hakol, he is the creator of everything. All right. Abu Braisa Acheres, in another Braisa, V'imrotz libecha, it says in the Sefer Yitzira, if your heart runs, shuv lamakoim, return to the place. Right. Shlakach ne'emar v'achayis rotzei v'shov, that the chayis, the angels, are running and returning. Perush. So now explanation. Kishetachshav b'libecha al boirei olam. When you start thinking about, when your heart begins to contemplate on the creator of the world, Mahu, what exactly is he? And how he resides in every place, in every action. Muzzle your mouth from speaking, and your heart from thinking. Remove this contemplating from your heart. But if your heart does continue to run to this thought, hurry and do not think, and return to the unity of the place of the world and to his service and to his fear. What does that mean? We'll see in a second. And that's what, there's a covenant that you should not contemplate total godliness, because there's no wise person that knows, that is able to understand this. So I'm not fully again, he spoke about this before, right? This idea of that if your heart runs, return to the place, right?
Mm-hmm.
1 second.
There's a concept of running and taking a little.
Right. So the idea, right? So I mean, we understand conceptually that the person cannot. I mean, we cannot understand the essence of God. Okay, that we understand. But there was a more clear recipe of how to appreciate it in conceptually, but not fully. And that was the idea of shuv lamokan. Now I can't find it. 1 second. There. Right. So what he was saying is that, why is this? Before this, he told us that shuv lamoka means the only thing that we can appreciate, right? The only thing we can appreciate is God as a place, right? Meaning only as a parable, only as a concept, but not really in full reality. Meaning we understand that God is the place of the world, right? We understand that He supports the world and He fills the world. We have that idea, and we can only use this idea as it helps us to serve the one Creator, right? But it's not something that we can truly understand. It's something we have to be aware of, but not something that we can truly contemplate. And that's what he's saying over here also. He's saying over there, right? Don't allow your thought to delve into this particular aspect, only in as much as it helps you to do this. Just understand the concept that God is one, right? But in His service and in His fear. And as much as it contributes to it helps you to serve Him fully, that's what you use. Use it as a platform to cling to Him. not as a platform to try to really understand him. Right? Does that make sense? Because you won't be able to, right? And that's what he's saying here. Okay, that's what he's saying. Okay, moving on. And all of the groups of the lofty groups of angels, shoyal, and they ask, where is the place of his honor? Right? Even those angels, they cannot really understand what it means that Hashem is the place of the world. The Gemara in Chagiga says a similar idea. From the fact that we say, blessed is the honor of Hashem from His place, right? So the Chazal understand over there in the Gemara that Mim Kaimoy means we understand the honor of Hashem from His place, not in His place, but from His place. Right? So that's Miklal the Mikoimoleka the Yodale. Because the place itself is not something that you can know. Okay? It's true that Moshe Rabbeinu, who reached the highest levels possible, he wanted to understand this, and that's what he requested from Hashem. Hashem, please reveal to me your kavod, your honor, right? Which is this idea, bechinas mokem kivoida, the place of your honor. But it was not given even to Moshe Rabbeinu, right? It says you cannot see my front, you can only see my back, which means you can only see as, right, not the essence of Hashem, but only the byproducts as we experience him through the world, through the creation. Okay, only he himself who can understand his own essence. So he's the one who can truly understand. He knows himself, so he understands how this all works out. And so it says in the pasuk that the hidden things are to Hashem. And as for us, ein rishoyin lehizboyin, and we are not really allowed to contemplate ela b'masha hu rishenu, and only in those things that were revealed to us, v'aniglo islonu lahasagaysenu, what was revealed to us to our understanding, v'hu b'habechina shemitzideinu, which is we can only understand it. We can only understand the creation and Hashem from within the perspective that was given to us. That we see Hashem as the one who surrounds all of the worlds. Because we understand that in order to accomplish this, he had to contract. And we'll see in the next chapter he defines tzimtzum a little differently, but we'll take it simply now. Tzimtzum, he had to contract through his pure will, kvoid yisborach, his honor. She yisroa, that it should appear le'ena hasaga, to the eye of the mind's eye, metzius oilomes v'koichos ubrios nivroim mechudoshim. That as if there is a new creation with all of its beings, and all of its existence. Right? So all of that is only, I guess, the matrix, right, that we can see and appreciate, and that's the only reality that we will ever know, and that's the end of that. Okay? And so this is something that we have to continuously appreciate and set into our hearts. We have to realize that, despite, so meaning it sounds like he's saying there's a danger in over spiritualizing, right? Is that you lose your sense of boundaries, right? Part of spirituality is that it's limitless, right? When you're coming closer to this one God, you are one, right? So because it is a paradox, right? It is a paradox. The reality is Hashem is everywhere, right? There's our perspective. Hashem is out there, and we have to approach Him. But the way to approach Hashem is to see Hashem's actions everywhere, because that's the paradox. The paradox is that He's here, and we are coming closer to Him wherever He is. We're not running to Shamayim, right? We are finding Him here. We're discovering Him right here. So as we are, the closer we get to Him, the danger is that we lose our guard in terms of knowing when to limit ourselves, when to say this is the right thing to do in this particular situation, but this is not appropriate in that particular situation, right? And it's so that's what he keeps on harping this idea that there is of course a differentiation of places, differentiation of levels, dina when it comes to halach, and many different halachas. When it comes to laws and halachas, there is a protocol, and we have to follow that protocol no matter what. Which I already spoke above. Kihi pinas yisoid ha'emuna, because that's the foundation stone of our faith. Ve'ika shorish Torah, and the main root of the Torah. Ve'amitzvos kulam. V'hu gam kein echad me'atamim, and this is one of the reasons. So this is an interesting point over here. She'achar yichud posuk rishon de kriya shma. He says this can be illustrated by these two psukim, right? By the fact that we have added after Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, right? That Hashem is one, which reflects the idea really that Hashem is one and true unity is simple, pashut, unchanging, right? Overwhelming, completely equalizing, right? So Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad is our awareness that there is that reality, right? And we follow the Chachamim follow that reality with another phrase, which is not in the Torah, Baruch Shem Kvod Malchuso Le'olam Va'ed, which is blessed be the name of the honor of His kingship, right, forever and ever. So kingship is unity and kingship are related. What is that? What do I mean by that? Is that kingship shows your dominance, right? Kingship means dominance, and as Hashem's dominance comes from the fact that He is the master and the creator, and He has that one totality, one unity, right? So His dominance, His unity within this world that seems to be outside of Hashem. His unity is expressed via His total dominance of the creation, right? Okay. Because we understand that everything that exists because He willed it into existence, and this that it continues to function, it only functions, as we said before, because Hashem continuously wills it into its existence and guides it the way He, according to the will that He willed it to be, right? So that's an expression of malchus. That's an expression of kingship, right? So when we say kingship, we refer to Hashem's dominance. But dominance reflects also the fact that I dominate over something that's outside of me, right? Okay. Correct? Because dominance automatically presumes that there is something to dominate, right? So that's what he's saying. We'll say later on, Perak Yudalef, she'inyan yichud posuk rishon b'tevas echad, the first pasuk with the Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, hainu lechavein, that we have to concentrate she'odon yochid baruch hu, that Hashem is complete unity. Hu echad b'chol ha'olamis, He is one in all of the worlds, v'abriyos kulam, in all of the creations. Achdus pashut, complete unity, kumashmoy, exactly, literally, meaning, in other words, Hashem before the creation. V'kulam nechshavim l'ayin, and everything really is nothing. Ve'ein oid milvado, and there's nothing besides Him, Yisborach l'gambe, completely at all. However, that doesn't mean we have to really contemplate and understand how this all works out. So therefore we follow that up. Blessed be His kingship forever and ever. She is Boyer Sham, which explains this idea that we will explain later on that pasuk, that phrase of Baruch Shem Kvod Malchusoi reflects Hashem's unity from our perspective, right? How does Hashem's unity play out from our perspective? Shemisroid appears mitzias oilomos ubrios mechudoshim, right, from the appearance of worlds and new creations, b'retzoynef, through His will, hatzrichim, that require li His borech, to be blessed, meitoi. So the word baruch also means that there is something that requires His energy to come in, right? The baruch means the expression of Hashem's energy, right? So baruch, we are asking for Hashem to be revealed in this world, right? So the baruch and malchus really share the same idea, is that it's the expression of Hashem's unity within our perspective where it is hidden, right? It's an expression of Hashem's unity within our perspective where that unity is hidden, because we see many different creations. We see the fact that we see the creation in the first place means that there's Hashem and then there's creation, and we're saying no, Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus Olam Va'ed, blessed be Hashem, whose dominance is going to be revealed forever and ever in all aspects of creation, and we're just waiting for that to kind of really play out. Okay. Right. So V'hu hamoylech aleim, and He's the king over all these things. Zeu Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus. That's what we mean by that phrase, Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus. And this is why in the Zohar, the first pasuk, Shema Yisrael, is called Yechuda Ilah, which means the upper unification. Is called the lower unification, meaning our world, quote unquote, again, he said this in the previous chapter, from our perspective, we consider ourselves lower. Hashem is high, right? Again, parabolically speaking, Hashem is higher, right? He is the sitter of heavens, Kel Elyon, He's the lofty God. We are lower, right? And we are trying to come up to Him, right? So that's so Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad appreciates Hashem as complete one simple unity. So that's called Yehuda Ilah, an elevated unification. Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus is called Yehuda Tato, meaning the lower, meaning unification within our lower world, within the existence of the world as we see it, which appears to be outside of Hashem, which it really isn't, but it's where. We bring out His unity within our perspective through the pasuk of Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus Olam Va'ed. Okay, we'll have to stop here.